When I look back on my year as Teacher of the Year, I think many years from now I will look back on it and see the impact I had and the influence of my ideas, and that's very special. The average classroom teacher, I know I as a classroom teacher often feel like I can't impact the larger policy world, and the experience of being North Carolina Teacher of the Year has been one in which I find that often I'm the only teacher in the room, and rather than that being a detriment to me, that makes me very powerful as a voice. That when you're in a room with legislators and policymakers and business leaders, you're the only one who's been in a classroom and taught children, and so I find that they really do listen and that they do take to heart the things that you say as an experienced teacher. And so when I reflect back on my year as Teacher of the Year, it was exhausting, it's tiring, it can be emotionally draining, but it's also something that I'm very proud of, and that I think my ideas, I hope, will have a lasting impact. So one event that happened recently was at the fall work sessions at Appalachian State with the state board. And it was a time when suddenly everyone's ideas sort of meshed together as we were all talking. We had just had a presentation on the whole child, whole community model, and we started chatting at lunch about that presentation, and it sparked this idea of how we could create schools as a hub for services all around the community. That schools can't possibly provide everything that a community needs, but that we often have knowledge about who needs what and which children are in need, and we could be the hub for other organizations to come in and use us as a way of serving the community. And the reason that stands out to me is because it was so collegial and friendly and joyous when it happened, and it was a great example of people from different political backgrounds and different appointees and teachers and principals and school board members, and all of these people suddenly meshing around something that they all believed was good for kids and that really could work, and all jumping on board and putting aside all the things that normally get in the way in educational policy. Educational policy is complicated and it's difficult, but there are moments like those that are just full of compassion and joy, and so that really I'll remember that forever as something that people listened to each other without judgment and shared in their concern for kids, and I hope did something great. Or to speak to young teachers in the state, one of the pieces of advice I would give is to just hang in there and do what you believe. The truth is, teaching as a profession rises and falls over time, and if you are subject to every whim of political influence over teachers, it can be very discouraging. But if you believe in what you do, if you believe in the impact you have on children, just keep at it and don't let yourself get too wrapped up in the politics of teaching and the profession. It's important to understand that ultimately, once you close your door, it's you and kids, and it's always been you and kids. That has never changed. All of the politics of teaching, the profession, the technology, and the schools, and all of that comes and goes. But when the actual act of teaching is just you and a child, and that, for me, is the reason I'm still a teacher, is that I always know that no matter what happens in the boardrooms and all of those places, ultimately I close my door, it's me and my kids talking about Shakespeare again, and that's why I love it, and I guarantee you if you stick with it, you'll love it too.